14 of the fantasy basketball season. And here's a few centers I looked to add this week off the wire. The first guy, Trey Lyles of the Detroit Pistons. I've mentioned Lyles as a pickup over the last few weeks here, and he definitely hasn't disappointed on the season. 9.6 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 45% from the field. But the last few weeks here for Lyles, 14.1 points a game, 6.9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 49% from the field. The only problem here, Kelly Olynyk, he should be playing any day now for this Piston team. But right now, there's no way, in my opinion, they could really sit Lyles because he's producing and he's putting up numbers for this Piston team, even though this Piston team, one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. But they're still going to play their players and see what they got for next season and the future. So on the last few games here for Lyles, January 11th at the Bulls, 6 points, 3 boards, an assist, 16% from the field. January 14th versus Toronto, 21 points, 7 boards, an assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 60% from the field. And January 16th versus Phoenix, 18 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, and 75% from the field. So right here, he's scoring the basketball well. Pretty good rebounder. He plays powered forward and center for fantasy. And I just like what he's doing right now. And even in small amount of minutes, he's still putting up points. He's only played over 30 minutes once over the last 4 games here as Lyles. So right now, he's available in 71% of fantasy leagues, and he's definitely a center I would add this week, even with Olynyk coming back into the mix any game now. The next center I would look to add this week on the wire is Mortis Wagner of the Orlando Magic. So obviously the Wagner brothers both are on the Magic team, and Fran's been the better one this season. But Mortis Wagner, he's been okay this year on the season. 7.3 points a game, 2.4 rebounds, a 3 and 48% from the field. But the last few weeks here with the injuries and him on a hot streak, he's playing good basketball. 11.6 points a game, 2.6 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.2 threes a game, and a whopping 70% from the field here for Wagner. So his playing time's gone up, and he's not failed to not produce for this Magic team. I know Bamba and Wendell Carter are day-to-day with their injuries, but Mortis Wagner, he's made the most of his opportunity. The last few games for him, January 12th at the Wizards, 6 points, 2 boards, and assists, 75% from the field. January 14th at the Hornets, 26 points, 4 boards, and assists, a steal, a block, 4 threes, 64% from the field. Then January 15th at the Mavs, 16 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 threes, 83% from the field. So right here, in my opinion, there's no way he can't at least play 15, 20 minutes a game, even with Bamba and Carter back in the lineup pretty soon here for this Magic team. But he is more of a deeper league ad. He's available still in 98% of fantasy leagues. So if you need a big and it could score the basketball and won't hurt your field goal for a few games or as a streaming option, I think Wagner is a decent ad this week. The next center I would look to add this week is LaMarcus Aldridge of the Brooklyn Nets. I've mentioned a few Nets in my other videos at guard and forward. And hey, this net team, they need all hands on deck, especially with Durant out now 4 to 6 weeks. And with still Kyrie Irving only playing road games so far this season. So on the season here for Aldridge, 13.3 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, and 56% from the field. So Aldridge, he's been out with a right foot injury over the last few games here, but now he should return to this net lineup. And like I mentioned, they need him desperately, especially at a veteran presence and a guy who could score the basketball as well. So Aldridge, he could score the ball. He's probable for today's game at the Cleveland Cavs on Monday here. And he's going to play his 20, 25 minutes a game, in my opinion. And when he does play, he puts up numbers. He could score the 10, 13 points a game with 6 or 7 rebounds. And right now, he's available still in 53% of fantasy leagues. So right now, if Aldridge is out there on your waiver wire, I wouldn't hesitate to get him, especially at a center position that's been pretty weak this season in fantasy basketball. The next center I look to add this week's Kevon Looney of the Golden State Warriors. So Looney, he's been injured over the last few seasons where he's rarely played a full season. But so far this year, he's played a lot, and he's definitely producing. And James Wiseman, who knows when he's coming back this year. So anyway, on the season for Looney, 6 points a game, 7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 53% from the field. But the last couple weeks here, he's definitely been a great rebounder. 6.4 points a game, 9.4 rebounds, 2 assists, 50% from the field. So he can rebound the basketball, and if that's all you need, rebounding and a pretty good field goal percentage, I think Looney's a good ad for fantasy owners. He's not going to score more than 4 to 6 points a game on average here. But over the last few games, he's even scored a decent amount as well. January 13th at the Bucks, 7.7 boards, an assist, a block, 40% from the field. January 14th at the Bulls, 10 points, 12 boards, 4 assists, 80% from the field. And January 16th at the Timberwolves, 4 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, a steal, 40% from the field. So if you need rebounding and a decent field goal guy, I think Looney is a decent add this week here. And he's still out there in 81% of leagues. And the fifth and final center I looked at is Javon McGee of the Phoenix Suns. So it's been an up and down, add him, drop him type of situation with McGee this season. And right now he's available in 78% of leagues on the season. It's been a solid year for him as the backup center over there in Phoenix behind DeAndre Ayton. 10.2 points a game, 7 rebounds, and 65% from the field. So right here, he was out for a while with the protocol list, out from December 31st to January 8th, but now he's back and he's playing about 14 to 15 minutes a game only, but he's still been producing decently in a short time frame. Here's McGee. January 11th at Toronto, 4 points, 3 boards, a steal, 66% from the field. January 14th at the Pacers, 7 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 40% from the field. Then January 16th, a huge blow-up game in a blowout victory at Detroit, 20 points, 6 boards, a block, and 90% from the field. So McGee, we know he's an energy guy. We know he's not a big scorer of the basketball, but he could help you in many categories: rebounding, field goal percentage, blocking shots, and he's even a decent passer at the center position. So right now, if you're desperate for a center, McGee, I think, could do some things for your fantasy team. I know he's going to be inconsistent at times, but he's a decent add this week. So that's a few centers I look to add here for Week 14 of the fantasy basketball season.